Hey guys, from Pips here, and today I'm going to be doing my weekly crypto analysis as far as what I believe is going on in the markets based on fundamentals. Now, let's start off on the monthly chart actually, see what's been going on. Alright, just as a recap, had this bullish trend start in about April of 2020, and it went all the way up, ended in March. Actually, it was like the first week of April where it ended. Then May it really fell. Now what happened was it rebounded in July and all the way into November, and then it's been dropping since. Now it has been holding on to the $40,000 level, and as you can see, there is also this monthly zone that it is rejecting off of as well. However, if we go down to the weekly, I'm gonna drop this down a little bit. All right, so just to recap, kind of smaller move. So it almost hit this $70,000 zone. Now, as you know, on Bitcoin, what happens is when it gets close to these levels, it likes to reject them. Now, that's not always the case because, like for this, this instance, it went all the way down. It did kind of reject like $45,000 level, but then it did keep going down. But as you can see, it went from 30,000 to 40,000. Back up to 40,000 again, and then down to 30,000, and then it shot all the way up to the 50,000, went back to 40, so on. You get it. You get how these levels like to respect. Now let's look at what is currently going on. So it dropped from the $50,000 level, so it dropped past it and back up, and then instead of it being a support like it acted as here, now it's acting resistance. Now it did try to shoot past the $40,000 level. Obviously rejected again, dropped past it this time. But there's a weekly zone that formed at the beginning of last bull run, which started in July of 2021. And it's been rejecting. It's rejected it 1, 2, 3 times. And also, back on monthly, there was also a monthly zone that formed. Now you could consider these as one and the same. So this weekly zone and this monthly zone are kind of the same thing. And you could also say that this void kind of right here did need to get filled before it goes back up. So what I'm going to be looking at now is there any way that this could be rejecting this level? So in order to see that, we need to see why it rejected daily. All right, so we see double top form here, and then it shot back up, then it kind of formed another double top, though this time the second peak was lower, and it's been shooting down since. Now, at this point on the daily, there is a daily zone here. Now there's also a daily zone a little bit lower than that, so basically it is forming all sorts of supports. So even though there is this price, these patterns, it is forming supports in the lower side, because again, we are at the $40,000 level, so even though we're below it, and it should be acting as a resistance, it's almost acting as a support instead. Now let's go down to the 4-hour. Now, look at this. 4-hour, so it was bullish, then it formed its high, and then it's been kind of consolidating, and then broke and went bearish. Now what happened was this path, so last structure point, let's call it that, there, and formed a head shoulders. Now what that means is here in a way, I guess you could call this the reverse head and shoulder point. Now it could go and fake out and do kind of this. Grab this again. It could literally do the exact same thing. Shoot all the way up there. You see. as exact kind of thing. So again, it is a little unreliable because there is also kind of forming a bit of a trend line, or that one breakout. Go, trend line. So I could do that instead. Now we don't really know. And if I did know, I would tell you exactly what's going to happen. I'm not a time traveler, my bad. So, let's delete all this for these zones because those are important for our go down here, and it is kind of forming a resistance. So basically, it's probably going to consolidate for a bit longer. And you see this. This doesn't really tell us anything. It could literally mean this. It could do that. So higher time frame, it could be bullish. Lower time, higher time frame, it's probably bullish. Lower time frame is probably bearish. However, higher time frame carries more sway. So what's probably gonna happen is it might even form that pattern I just showed, the head and shoulders, and then it could shoot up. Really don't know. It could drop if it dropped all the way down, or for that to happen. Let's weekly. I have to break. Is this zone? Even though this is a zone here, this wick all the way down to the 30,000 zone. In order to break down to the 30,000 zone, it only has to break a couple weekly zones. So actually, sorry, that is actually not a zone anymore because it broke past it. All right, so as you can tell, Bitcoin's consolidating. So if you're trying to trade it, not really much you can do right now because the time frames are all kind of telling different stories. And what that means is you could probably try to scalp on the lower time frame, on like the 1 hour. Or I don't really suggest it, but I guess you could go on the 30-minute as well and go, hey, look at that. It's forming a whatever. You could just say whatever pattern you think it is. But yeah, no, like you'd be like, oh, it's forming this pattern, or you could go even lower. But honestly, Bitcoin is like there's so much news behind Bitcoin that you don't really want to trade it this way. So what I would suggest doing is, if you're holding on to a position, keep holding on to it because we're still at a support. It makes no sense to sell at a support. However, also doesn't make sense to buy if you're taking trades on your broker. I would not suggest. I do not give financial advice, but I do not suggest buying because unless you are sure about your scalp position. Now it is a scalp position because there's no way of knowing that it'll keep going up because this trend line here says otherwise. So anyway, the bottom line is that Bitcoin is consolidating and you can try to trade it, but it will probably chew you up. All right, now that that is done with, go to Ethereum one, and let's see. Let's go to the monthly. As you can see, monthly zone rejected. That's 3 times now. 3 times the charm, you know what they said. I'm just kidding. There's no rule about that in trading, so don't follow that. All right, now if you go to the weekly, it's be rejected many different weeks, so the chances of it going up now, pretty good. But there's also a pretty good chance that it could say, haha, no, the zone no longer exists. It's going to keep going down. So Ethereum, Bitcoin, we're at the bottom. Now I keep adjusting this because we don't know exactly where the trend line is. That's the thing with this. This is probably the best, most updated trend line I can give you as of this moment. Now I could move this around to the bottom of the candle, but it could go, hey, no, we wanna keep going down. So it's okay to move this trend line around a little bit. It's just to tell you that we're in a channel. Now it's been dropping since the since the announcement of the Ukraine invasion by the Russians. Now, if you haven't watched my video on why that matters, you should go watch that because what it means is that Ukraine, which is basically the European crypto capital, is getting attacked and may no longer exist if the Russians win. So I would definitely be careful trading the markets this week if you plan on trading this. Now, if you plan on buying Bitcoin, I mean, relatively speaking, we're on Ethereum Bitcoin now. No, but anyway, so Ethereum Bitcoin, right? If you're planning on buying Ethereum for market control, look at Ethereum USD, right? Just for actual buying Ethereum, because most people want more dollars, not more Bitcoin compared to their Ethereum. This is just to show that Ethereum is actually losing market dominance and Bitcoin is actually taking over, even though Bitcoin's currently consolidating, meaning Ethereum must be falling. Now, if we went there, USD, you'd see that, yep, it's falling. So let's go back to Ethereum Bitcoin. All right, so let's keep. Now, I don't actually use fibs on this. I don't even know I had that fib on there. So let's see. Daily. There was a daily zone. It got destroyed. There's a daily zone here. It got destroyed. Well, yeah, it was like a resistance zone, and it got destroyed. So anyway, only the monthly and weekly zones remain. Now, what's going on is it might be forming a W. So what would happen is we got this. Now, here's the problem: is there's these, yeah, that mess. If you see a W, this is what you'd probably see is this, and then probably about there. Oh, my bad. I don't use this tool that much. Well, you get the point. Not because it follows the neckline. Would be not even that high. Messed it up. That made this more complicated than I'd be. Yeah. So there. See, yeah, there's not really much it can go, but yeah, it's if it is forming a W, not really much place it can go because the neckline makes it a really bad trade. Right. Now that that's out of the way, let's go to the 4 hour. No, 4 hour. All right, and you can see W kind of form. No, not really. This is just consolidation and then dropping because of the news. Yeah, it's not really tradable because of the current situation going on in Ukraine. So if you're looking for altcoin season to start, it is not started yet because of the problems in Ukraine going down. However, there are always assets going up in the markets, and if you want to find those, I would suggest checking out Dynasty Exchange, and we offer signals to all of the members. So definitely check that out and come by for next week's weekly markup of Bitcoin USD and Ethereum Bitcoin. All right, see you next time.